Ready, Fire, Aim is a book that every entrepreneur should read. It talks about the 4 stages of a business. And more importantly, it talks about the 4 different roles of a business owner. In this video, I'm going to be covering and pretty much giving you a summary of the book. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, hey, let's just cut right to the chase. So I'm going to be talking about this book, Ready, Fire, Aim, and I actually I know like many of you have read this, and that's good. And I have also like read it a couple of times, but it's still like good to kind of like remind yourself about the things that this book is talking about. So it's a really useful book, and it's a book that every entrepreneur should basically read when they are starting their business. So because it really talks about this, that how you work at like different stages of your business and how you basically evolve and how your roles evolve as your company evolves. So one key point is the founder of IBM said that, nothing happens until a sale is made. And that's really spot on. You can have fantastic ideas and everything, and you can think that, okay, my product is going to change the world or whatever. But until you actually make a sale, none of it basically matters. So it's really, the market is like telling us that whether there's really value in the product or not. A couple of like key takeaways from the book are this, that basically, success, the 4 stages of this entrepreneurial business. So there's typically these 4 different stages. So it's infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. So I'm going to be talking about this more in detail. But thing is that when you launch a business, it really requires to concentrate like majority or basically 80% of the efforts on sales. So customers ultimately decide the value of the product and service. So it's really the market that defines that, okay, whether there's any need for this product in the market. So it means that, okay, launch today and improve later. That's kind of like the philosophy of the Ready, Fire, Aim. And also, treat every customer cordially and save the royal treatment for the big spenders. So all customers are not created equal. And then another key takeaway from this book is that you really turn outstanding employees into superstars, and really this innovation and brainstorming go hand in hand. And I'm going to be talking about this more in detail, but this is also really important to understand that there's a difference between what customers want and what they need. So the 4 stages are basically infancy. So he's actually defining that like numbers, like revenue numbers for these 4 different stages, but it's not really cast in stone, and it can also impact on many different things like how many people you have and those kind of things. But anyway, the second is childhood, going from 1 million to 10 million. Then is adolescence, 10 million to 50 million in revenue. And then the 4th one is adulthood. So it goes from 50 to 100 million and above. So the key is really like recognizing like what stage your business is in and what really needs to be done in order to get to the next level, and not only what you need to do, but how you need to do in order to get there. And then the 4 roles of like the business owner. So the first one is the employee. This means that you're basically, when you're an employee, you do everything yourself. Second one is the manager. So you actually hire others to help you. Then third one is the business builder. So enabling the right team to build the business for you. So the key difference between the second and third one is that second one is basically just running things, running the show, and really being more of a manager. And then the difference is that the third one is really enabled, that you don't have only the right team, but the right team works in such a way that they are basically not dependent on you. And then the final fourth one, a true business owner, is basically act as an outside investor. So this means that you are not involved in day-to-day operations at all. And at different stages, you play like different roles to varying degrees, which means that basically, even if you have really like mature business, it still might be that, okay, sometimes you're actually acting as an employee because you're doing something yourself. So maybe you want to figure out a new business model or something that you are basically doing yourself, and basically nobody else is able to do. But I mean, the point of these four roles is that you should basically evolve as quickly as possible to the higher degrees, meaning that you're not the employee. You're not when you're doing everything yourself, and you are not even the manager when you have team. You really want to become this business builder, so you have like self-organizing teams that basically do the things for you. And I can take a example myself, like just let's consider this presentation I have here. I mean, I have read the book several times, but I actually didn't do this presentation myself. No, I had like team member do it. That hey, actually, can you do slides for this book? And basically, just I told yesterday that okay, show me what you have tomorrow, and then I will go through it. And basically, it's not dependent on me. I have other people doing those without my intervention. And thing is that, like, if you feel you're working life with really good people, I mean, the problems that usually hamper and plague a business at every stage of its growth will be easy to solve and will eventually seem to disappear. So, I mean, we've been talking about this many times, that first who and then what, and it's basically the same thing. And when you start a new business, you really have to be obsessed with making sales. And that's where I see like so many different startups really failing, that they just spend too much time on the product development instead of just starting the cash flow and getting things running. They take too much time in order to get there. And some people, well, especially in the Finnish culture, they might really don't want to be involved with selling and making sales. But I mean, in startup, like every you have to be really obsessed about this making sales. And that means that you get the response from the market as quickly as possible in order to see that, okay, does the market even care? Like, does anyone even care about this, the product or the service that the company's offering? And thing is, I mean, you don't need a preponderance of natural skills to start or grow a successful business. What you need is a little knowledge and a handful of tricks. And the book talks about this optimal selling strategy, and it basically means these different things. So customer base, so you basically advertise where your competitors are, and basically market where the customers are. And you're not really reinventing. You're not bringing something completely new to the market. Instead, you look at what the market is currently doing, and they basically tap on that. And the same thing about pricing, that you don't want to undersell or overvalue your product, because the market is the one that actually defines the pricing. So, and then the message, meaning that you talk the language that your customers understand. So you speak the language that resonates with your customers. And thing is that whether even if someone might be fear or hate the very idea of selling, then still, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you really need to be the basically number one salesperson. And it was actually a funny example in the book that when the author started his sales career, I mean, he had the idea that, no, I'm going to be doing something different that everyone else is doing. So I'm going to create this new product, and I'm 100% certain that this product will take off. I mean, I know the market, so I'm not going to basically do the same thing as everyone else. And I mean, in theory, it sounded nice, but it was a complete failure. And he learned this hard lesson that he basically, from then that moment on, he always started with like knock off something existing. So it's basically the same thing on Amazon, that you're not bringing something completely different. So instead, you bring what the customer, what the market already has, and then just keep improving. Yeah, so basically it talks about having this optimal selling strategy, and also like basically using mentors and using other people to like, instead of reinventing the success path, you actually follow the path of others, because I mean, why should you reinvent the wheel? Then comes stage number 2, the childhood. So this basically means that when you are past the $1 million in revenue, and it usually comes down to that you are introducing and selling new products. So you're not actually only dealing with one product, but like I said, this is not cast in stone. And I actually know many different businesses that are basically doing multiple millions with one product alone. So don't let the numbers kind of like fool you. So because it's depends on many different factors, not just the revenue that you're doing. It's more about that when your company evolves, then you need to do different things in order to keep growing. But at a certain point, you need to basically start introducing new products, because like every product eventually have this product life cycle. And if you do nothing at the product, I mean, if you just keep the version same with no improvements, then eventually it's going to saturate the market, and the market is not interested in the product anymore. So then then another point is really kind of like depending on really like stimulating these existing customers. So it's also comes down to like building raving fans for your brand. So give the customers reason to buy new products, and just continue in making the buying experiences really pleasant, and they're actually not just the buying experience, but the experience in using the product. And yeah, I mean, the best locations for your competitors will be probably the best locations for you too. So I mean, in Amazon, when you're selling on Amazon, it's really like blatant this that, okay, so you just use the search terms that are the most suitable one for your product, and you're going to be seeing like competitors there as well. This is really important point, that when you're starting a new business, like it's a bit like, or getting an or new business or new product, it's a bit like starting a moving a train. So it takes a lot of energy to break it free from its like stationary physics. But I mean, once it is in motion, it will actually accelerate more easily. Then I mean, on this state, it's more about like innovation and brainstorming, kind of like teaching your team to come up with like new ideas, and instead of doing things the same old way, you are actually trying to find new ways to find growth. And whenever you're doing brainstorming, it's really important. I mean, you don't shoot any ideas. You just instead want to be really creative and really get this like brain juices flowing and so on. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of obvious that, I mean, the best way to spur growth is through innovation, and it's not necessary about innovation about new products. It's just innovation in general, about not only about products, but about how you are doing things, because you can typically easily, I mean, you can find things that, okay, if we just do things differently, it would result into better results. And the way I've been doing with different teams is that we basically have these kind of like weekly brainstorming sessions, like typically maximum just 45 minutes, just to get it really focused on one topic, and get really because one thing is that it's also about teaching people how to become more innovative and how to become more creative and how to kind of like trust themselves into giving you ideas, because the more your business grows, I mean, the more you are going to alienate from the daily operations. And at a certain point, I mean, people, your people will know more about your customers and more about the daily operations than you do. So it's really important to teach them to be creative and innovative and get them used to giving you ideas so that the stuff doesn't depend on you. And yeah, I mean, change can be really a difficult thing, and it's really comes down to the company culture, that are people actually afraid of change? Because if they are afraid of change, then it's not going to be anti-fragile like business. It's just going to be a business that is eventually just causing people stress.
There's a saying that people don't resist change; they resist being changed.
Yes, and the key thing is that and people, I mean, usually people are fine with change if they get a chance to ventilate. I mean, tell everything that is like disturbing them, or like basically give all their ideas.
Yeah, so, they can be part of the change and understand why change is good for them.
Exactly. An easy way to do is to do this is just to have a session that, hey, what do you think about this? Like, do you think it's for the better, or what are your concerns? So it's basically just asking and giving people an opportunity to speak up.
Because they will like to change if you want. Even if you tell them that let's do it this way, this is better, they might not even understand and might not even ask why.
And I mean, pricing, I mean, when you're selling on Amazon, you should all the time like consider pricing, like, oh, all right, so current price is this, so the competitors have this price, how can I actually increase the price without hurting like profitability? So it's really finding these sweet spots, and that just means that you need to test the different things. But I mean, the whole point on Ready Fire Aim is that whatever you do, I mean, you need to test it out quickly, and then just, okay, if you see that this thing is working out, then I mean, just let's go ahead and just shoot and just get it done. And then, because one thing is also like teaching this experimentation culture. So I mean, if imagine when your whole team is kind of like obsessive about doing these experimentations, then oh boy, I mean, you will get huge amount of experiments done, and then you will also get this feedback from your customers, feedback from the market, and feedback what basically how to improve your product, how to improve your branding, what kind of new products to release, and so on. So I mean, it's all about getting things done. And I always say that I like perfectionism. It's really the enemy of an entrepreneur. So it's really about putting things in motion as quickly as possible in order to like get things rolling and see some return as quickly as possible. And whenever you consider a new product, I mean, you have to think about the marketplace, like what is currently there and what about the product cost and those things. So basically, these are the things that we teach in the product life cycle. And the first batch always basically only about validating the product. So that validating the product risk. And then, I mean, it's always good to consider that, okay, I mean, do you have the right people? Like, do I really have the right people in the team? And would I really enthusiastically rehire everyone that I have here? And when you do this kind of like low risk things, then you don't really have like that much. I mean, if it goes south, then I mean, it's not a big deal. You don't lose that much money all time because you just made an experiment that reaps the benefits or shows the results really quickly. And as we are always talking about people, so building this team, and you should only have like two kinds of people, like stars and superstars. So this really means that you kind of like put emphasis on the company culture, like with those last time about the A players, and how to get those people, how to nurture those people, and so on. So this is actually a key point that even if you have invested a lot of time and money into a certain product or project or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's still worth doing it. So it just might mean that actually, you should quit doing this immediately, because it's just complete waste of time. So it's really important that you don't like fall in love with your product. Instead, if you see that, okay, I mean, this doesn't make sense, just cut it loose and just move on. And it's really about continuous improvement. Yeah. And it's basically about, okay, I mean, always like improving. But thing is that for example, when you launch a new product on Amazon, you shouldn't really spend that much time on it. You just, okay, what currently the market has, and then basically just do at least what the currently is being offered to the market, and then just basically improve. And then basically these couple of things that really are part of this like stage 2. First of all, like if you are selling something to your existing customers, I mean, when the customers are like coming back for more, then I mean, you should treat those people differently, who are basically your kind of like big spenders. So you shouldn't like you really have to make this usage experience and customer experience really pleasant with them. And on Amazon, it's really easy to get feedback from people, because I mean, there's the seller feedback where people sometimes give product feedback, and then also the reviews where you can see that where you can read how people use their product and so on. And then secondly, I mean thirdly, the emails that you get from people. So it's really about not getting complacent, not getting like satisfied with the status quo. It's more about always finding areas to improve, and then kind of like honing those areas, and then be like distinctive from your competitors. And yeah, I mean, it's not about the features or even really the superficial benefits of the product. It's about what the buying and ownership the experience does for the customer. And that's really the psychology of buying a product. I mean, the want versus need. I mean, who needs a $20,000 Rolex? I mean, what's from the mall that costs like $20? It already tells you the time just as well. So in that sense, there's no difference. So why would anyone buy a 20K Rolex? So it's not about need, it's about want. So this is about really creating this stimulating purchasing experience for the customer. And that can be really addictive to people. So it's really good to actually tap on that experience and then make them feel really special. Then basically, the stage number 3 is adolescence. And it usually means that the more you're growing, then what tends to happen is that the quality kind of can go down. So at that point, you really need to enforce like these strict controls, and really like having this core group of employees who share your vision, and at this point, basically at adolescence, you already have like lost your contact with the daily operations. So because I mean things just get more complex, and the more bigger and the more complex things get, I mean the more you're going to alienate from the daily operations. And this means that this really means that I mean the quality can go down. So that's why you really need to have this good people. But then it comes down to also like this company experience. I mean, company culture, and do you actually have people who love doing what they do, and do you have this kind of culture that basically it's just getting kind of like that does not tolerate this kind of like low quality. If everyone is fine with the quality going down, then I mean of course the quality of the product is going down, because I mean nobody cares. So it has to be about that people care about the quality and the things that you actually offer for the customers. But I mean at this point it might what many people or many companies do is that they start adding a bunch of managers, and it tends to become really like bureaucratic. So you actually, for many people, it happens that if you started your business to escape the corporate world, you might actually end up with the same kind of corporate world. So that's not so cool. So basically, it's about having good people, and then the last stage is this adulthood. So it's basically a just tiny percentage of the entrepreneurial business that generates these revenues of 50 million and 200 million and above. So it is more of a advisor, and of course there's different options like selling business, going public, and all those sort of things. And at this stage, like many people just choose to become more of this advisor instead of like staying or instead of like holding this active role in the company. But yeah, I mean, key thing is really having these like different roles, and it's good to consider that like currently are you in like which roles are you doing? So we have 4 roles like employee, manager, business builder, wealth builder. So if you're using all your time to just doing everything yourself, this means that you're the employee of a business, then I mean eventually you're going to be hitting a wall. So then it's up to spending more of your time as the manager, and then eventually business builder. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up.
Have you read Ready Fire Aim? Did you like it? Let me know your biggest takeaway. If you like this video, then hit the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you need my help with anything, then make sure to sign up for my free training.